This is Odin's Wolf Survival, and I'm here with Holtzman's Gorilla Survival's survival card product. It came in this box, nice presentation box. Mail's kind of harder on things than they ought to be sometimes, but nice gift box. This is the card with what it is. Okay, they call it trap buckles, sewing needles, saw, sewing needles, knife, which looks like it's actually sharpened, which is kind of cool. Double fish hooks, trap buckles, as I said, snare locks, arrows, single fish hooks, which there appears to be quite a few, and lures, which there's 3. Okay, now, what this doesn't have is line. So you're either going to have to make line or do like I do with these cards. I'll go get some brown or green nylon sewing line or sewing thread, because some of that sewing thread, I've tried to pull it apart. Good nylon sewing thread I pick off on Amazon. I sew with it, leather with it. But I've had it cut into my fingers just trying to pull it apart. A lot of cotton threads and whatnot you can break in half. Don't try that with nylon. You'll have a bad day. So I kind of figured it'd work good for fishing line, which it does, because I have used it as such, and especially in an emergency. It's real fine, it's strong. You aren't going to pull in a whale with it, but chances are good, since it's not bulky, you will have it with you, kind of like these cards, when you need them, because like it or not, most people, if anything's heavy or bulky, they will not have it with them when they need it. You know, and these things are small enough. This one's a little bigger than some of the other ones, so you can see what it is, and it's got a backing on it so you can take the tools out and stick it back down, which is kind of a good thing. So this is what it is. This is what I did with one. I made this just for grins, and it'll hold several, and you can keep it protected, and if it does come loose, it doesn't matter because it'll be inside. Okay, here's the card. There's a backing plate, and you've got needles. Again, you can use them for all sorts of stuff. They look sharp enough and with a big enough eye that you can use natural cordage if you want to twist it up. Arrowheads the same way. They do have big enough holes that you can use natural cordage. Same way with the fish hooks. We'll be seeing that in a bit. I'm going to make some cattail cordage, and we're going to tie some up. The saw, I would set up, it's got teeth, it'll cut. I mean, it's not aggressive, and they don't have a set to them. They've got fine and coarse. The best way to use these is what I've seen, and you could 2 cords, pull it, but you really kind of want to get it started before you do that, otherwise it'll flop all over. I've seen where they made a little bow saw out of a real flexible twig and put pins through it, wooden pins that they made with the knife, which we'll be doing, which would be easy enough. Cut a slot in it, put a pin on the back side with a notch that you cut with the knife, and then wrap a little cordage around it to keep it secure, and you actually have a little saw for doing arrows, arrowhead, or setting slots for arrowheads, trimming feathers, cutting down cattails to make cordage, helping stripping out cordage with the knife, different things along that line. Okay, so let's pop the knife out. It seems to have somewhat of an edge, which most of these are just laser cut out, and they do not even bother putting an edge on them. You can see this has somewhat of an edge. It's not silly sharp, but with a little bit of time on a stone, it could be. It's stainless steel, so it's not thick. It's a little more rigid than I was expecting, to tell you the truth, but I think it could be sharpened up quite nicely with a little time out in the field, because what else you're going to have to do? You know, here's sandstone. see where it's starting to work it, it will sharpen it up. I'm impressed that it's this sharp. Like I said, most of them, the edges are the same thickness as their back. This is not, as you can see. So we're going to take a walk down to the cattails as it is, and we're going to cut cattails. This won't probably cut wood real well. This is an Osage twig. Oh, it does. So you could actually pull up some tinder. Okay. Here's fat wood. I think that's fat wood. Nope, that's Osage again. Yeah, that's really dry Osage. The fact that it's even peeling that off kind of impresses me, because this stuff is not very nice to cut. And it's pulling curls off, and I'm not really working that hard at it. Okay, so we know it'll do that. Now, down to the cattail patch. Okay, we're down at the cattail patch. It's February. It's almost 70 degrees out here at the moment, so shorts and sandals are in order. Looks like some horses and cows or whatnot have gotten in here and trampled the crap out of everything. So hopefully I can find some workable materials in this. What you're looking for is the stalks. Yeah, you can break this off, but it does cut it, is what I was trying to see. We'll have to soak this in water to make it work. Hopefully things haven't rotted out too badly. I was hoping it was still standing. Not quite up to the standard of my Essie or something along that line, but it does cut. And if I spent some more time on the diamond stone sharpening it, it would cut a lot better. It will cut. It's just kind of dull. It's not as dull as some. A little time with a little bit of stone and it'll cut really good. It will cut down through it. You just got to really work at it. Now we're going to take these up and process them and put them in a little water and hope they hold up. Now we're back up with the table. I got to get water because these are like very, very dry. If you got fresh cattails, you can do it right off the plant. But like I said, this is February and there is absolutely nothing growing in the forests of the Midwest. So what we're going to do is, this is the part of the cattail of the stalk, and you start peeling off the outer leaves till you get down to the inner. And this will be, when they're dry or when they're green, this will be almost clear. This is the part you want. So you peel. I've never really tried this dry, so we're going to work this out and see how it goes. You peel this off, and to work it, it will need to be soaked a bit, just to get some flexibility back. Cattail makes some good cordage. So we'll add some in and we'll twist up some cord, and we'll pull a fish hook out of there and basically make a little set. This is how you do it. You just peel that off, put it in the water, and let it soak for a while. And you get a bunch of them because it'll take a little bit, and you'll want more than one hook and line in the water, especially if you're in a no crap. You know, those old shit situations tend to get kind of gnarly. And this part of the plant, especially when it's fresh, you can eat the short bits of the stalk, you can eat the root, you can take the leaves and do all kinds of things with them. This plant is one to know, and it's usually will grow quite a lot of places, anywhere it's wet, all across the country. A lot of people been killing them off and things along that line, or don't like them. It's a great plant to have around. Like I said, it provides many, many things. Cordage being just one. But while you're down there getting cordage, you might as well pull a few roots and things like that, because if you're looking for fish, you might as well have a starch to go with it. These wider leaves don't really work all that well. I think you can split the edges off of them and use them like that, but I haven't had a whole... I use that for like rough cordage, not anything with a whole lot of strength, because it just doesn't have it. All right, I've got some, like I said, this is February in the forested region of the grass desert of the Midwest. And this is cattail, and it grew really good this year, but it's all been taken down by horses and cows. So I salvaged what I could out of there, which in a bad spot, that's exactly what would happen. You salvage what you can where you can find it. We're gonna make some cordage, which is relatively easy. Hopefully this will still have enough strength. You twist your cordage till it wants to twist up in a knot like that. Like I said, this isn't gonna be, you could use this for a needle, and the needle that's on the card to sew up gear and clothes. This isn't gonna be like hideously strong like some of your super filaments, but you can twist up a couple feet per hook relatively easy. And anybody that don't think it'll work, it's kind of crazy. You want it on I would put it on a spring trap to pull everything out of the water when you got it. Otherwise they could sit in there and chew through this, because it's a natural material. So, and you'll be going for any fish you can catch, not the huge ones. You know, in a survival situation, calories are calories, so you get what you can get and be happy with it, is kind of how it is. To make cordage, twist it. Twist it till it wants to kink up like that. Well, let's get a bigger piece. This cattail's been, this is last year's cattail, and this is February. So we're gonna make some cordage. Get you a piece of cattail. You want the inner bit like I was pulling out earlier. Sometimes getting it to where it'll want to roll is a pain in the yak. Once you get it to where it'll roll, you got to have this wet. Otherwise it'll just break up into nothing while you're trying to do it. Okay. Doing this over the straight fibers increases it in strength by quite a lot. The fibers are twisted together and grabbing on each other. You can see where I've done some of these. I've got some of these that are a couple years old, and I've done them out of daylily flowers. The only thing, the daylily's still holding together, which surprised me. It's got a really good strength, but before you use it or even bend it, I keep it in a tin. You want to put it in the water a little bit and let it rehydrate, and it becomes flexible again. If you don't, it just snaps off clean. It's really weird stuff. It's stronger, way stronger than I was expecting. But this is, here we go, we're making cord now. Now on this hook, you get your little bit of cord. You want it small enough you can get it through there. Which can be a trick. That's why I said the nylon thread would be a good bit to add in. And to make it smaller yet, you twist it on itself where it's twisted up tight. Then you can pop it through there, and once you get that in through there, you can pull the rest through. And once you got that in there, you can tie you off a knot, keep that on your cord. And actually, when I'm doing this, I would probably pull it up a little bit. Tie me off a knot on the end. And you want it clear at the end. These natural cordage doesn't like sharp corners and bends, so your regular knots are that's just a simple overhead knot. Now you got something to hold on to while you're twisting up the rest of your cordage for your hook. Makes it a lot easier, especially if you got paws that are of any size. You twist it clockwise and then go back counterclockwise. Keep your fibers wet. Watch the hook, because these hooks are actually kind of sharp. I felt it trying to bite my thumb. Once you get I'd run a couple feet so you could at least tie it on a stick. And it doesn't, once you get a little practice at this, it doesn't really take a long time to do a couple of feet. But instead of sitting around feeling miserable for yourself that you're out stuck somewhere, do something. Things go a lot better. If you actually do something, you have less time to worry about how bad your situation is, or convince yourself how bad your situation is, because usually most people make their situation a lot worse than what it is, just in their head. Granted, things aren't always easy. Life isn't meant to be easy, but your outlook on how you do things is a lot of it. So if you're sitting there telling yourself that everything's horrible, you know, things become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself that things are excellent, you know, that works a little bit, but it'll help you have a better outlook. And if your outlook's better, your mind's a little clearer and you can think a little and reason a little better, at least in my experience. So there it is. But cordage is a good skill to have. It's easy. You can make fish hooks out of thorns and all kinds of stuff, but sometimes when you get dropped in the middle of a situation, you can make your own fish hooks as you go, but these are relatively inexpensive, easy to use, pretty well done right out of the gate. If you got nylon, you got nylon cord, nylon thread, you basically have a fishing system. If you have a lot of nylon thread, you can make a hand fishing system, although it's better to set multiple hooks. Then while you're doing that and sitting around the fire, you twist up cordage, sharpen your little knife, and make a few snares and traps, however, you know, using whatever. And then as these get used up, and they will, because everything's a resource, as a usable resource, make your own out of wood. Your tool making ability you'll have more time. This is to serve an immediate need right out of the gate. It's not a long-term survival situation card, because you will lose hooks, so you'll have to know how to do the other stuff, but this will get things started. It's a nice little bit of kit. It's I'll have to put the price in because I don't remember right out of the gate. It's heavier than some, but like I said, it's actually kind of sharp, so you could just sit here and with a rock after you got your fire going and sharpen that. And you can make it sharp enough that it'd be unpleasant. But there's basically a bit of fish line, and you could keep going. I've got other videos of making cordage. There'll be some more coming out probably. But you could keep going with that, and then you're good to go. Same sort of thing for the needles. You know, it's all there. Everything is what you need. Not everything will stay on here 100% like when it was new, because once you break the little model sprue tree apart, good luck getting it back together. The little backing will hold it together somewhat, but you'll want a case or a little bag to carry your bits in, because they will come off as they get moved around. So I made a case that you could slide the whole mess in. It's fairly tight, but it holds everything decent. Get it down in there, close it up, slip that back in your pocket. You could even take your cordage with your fishing line, and as you move, you can wrap that up, slide it in there,